Hey, Saturday. Today's job, now that I've got this all done, is to try and organise some of this, get some stuff out of here that I don't need, and try and get all my tools and stuff into here. Like all this stuff on the top of here is going to have to get sorted, but I've got this covered space where I'm going to start putting some of my power tools and things so they can go into there. Here I've got some plywood around. I'd like to put some plywood up along these to make like hanging spaces. I thought that where the lathe is, I could actually do a shelf right along that wall, maybe about 12 inches from the top. That'd just be somewhere to sort of store some small stuff, because you can still be able to work at this bench if I need to. This weekend is focusing on that to just try and get stuff out from under the house. No water through the roof with all the rain we had this week, but it did run through on the ground because of the way it just flows down through the block, which is why I've got this table up on pavers. Yeah. So after I initially did my saying I'm going to start working out in the shed, getting stuff from in here out there yesterday, I've just gone for it because obviously it's now Sunday. First thing I did this morning was come in and this area here is where the new powder room will be. So obviously there's always been a toilet there, but we're going to replace that with a newer one. This is going to get framed out so you can see a little bit of marking on the wall. That's the size of the little corner sink that we intend on having, and there's going to be a wall here just sort of blocking the water heater off. The water heater will have a little doorway in front of it. I'm going to be talking with the plumber about whether this stack that comes down from the upstairs bathroom, whether we can actually have that go out through the wall higher up and maybe just box it in outside, just so we don't have this large space that needs to be boxed out right where you need to be sitting at the toilet, and that way the toilet can be moved across and be centered in the room better. And the system we got is one that'll have the cistern hidden in the wall cavity, so all you see is the basic toilet, and pocket door is sort of right here, entry. Yeah, we'll see when I start framing it out. Mind you, yes, I still need to do all the flooring here to get it all levelled out, but I just needed to work on that because we were talking about my wife and I were talking about different positions for the toilet if possible, but I think that's going to be the best layout, and I'll discuss that with her. In here, cleared out a bit more. The laundry area basically just has the dryer and the washer and the laundry tub. This end room, all of that floor space that you can see is where all my tools used to sit. So obviously there's still some more tools in here, the giant drop and slide saw, my little drop saw, a couple of other bags of tools. The plastering stuff is still in here, and I thought I may as well leave this in this area because we're going to do this room first, and I'm going to need all that, so why put that all out into the shed straight away? But I've tried moving most of my stuff out into the shed, and while doing that I needed to make sure that I was actually sorting it at the same time, so I'll go and show you. I start from the doorway. I put some bits of ply up so that I can hang some things. I've got my rakes and stuff hung. All my shovels, all my garden tools and things are in that corner, which is where they were before, just at the end of the bench. My little table saw can stand here because that gets used outside anyway. I cleared out all the rubbish that was under here, and I've got the power tools that I've got in bags basically stacked in there so they're out of the way. And this side, all of my tools, some of the stuff that was my pops. All my nails and screws which still need a lot of sorting out. I put up a bit of particle board so I could hang up those little things. I've had these, I reckon, for almost 20 years, and this is the first time I've put them up. 2 sets of them were still sitting in the plastic bag, of the plastic that they came in. Anyway, little shelf here for my fuel, for the chainsaw and the weed whacker and oils and stuff like that. Little hooks that I've got hanging up everywhere to put stuff up. Turns out that concrete Rio with a little bit of hose, it makes beautiful hangers. So this is all the additional poles for a pole chainsaw that my wife got for doing tall branches. That's the motor for that part in the back. Again, hanging on a big piece of Rio with some hose on it. And I've got my still big weed whacker as well, hanging here. Again, bit of Rio with hose. The lathe is uncovered. I feel better about having the lathe uncovered at the moment now that it's, because while I was doing this last night, it started to bucket down rain. And yes, water did come in on the ground because I still had the doors open, but nothing came through the roof. That's the best bit. That's a little bit better. Most of this brightness is from a work light because I still don't have a light in here. There's no power in here at all. I did get the drill and the sander attachment put onto this, so it means that I can basically wheel this out and be able to use it. I might hang like a little power board off the side so I can plug the things in. And compressors basically down there. This big bench still has, like, the lathe is just this end of it, and then there's almost the same distance of the bench on the other end. And I've got stuff that I still need to sort through. I've got a lot of electronics stuffs in this crate. Put up a way of hanging my little saw tracks and my level. So I've been trying to figure out how to, organise it. Because if I just threw everything out here, I wouldn't be able to find it all when I needed to come back in and use stuff. So I've tried to organise it. Like I said, power tools, the bench just here, and I'll move the camera in a second. That corner, in the bottom of there, I've got like all my old paints and stuff like that. I've gone through those a couple of times now and chucked out stuff that had dried out. The stuff that's there is the stuff that's still good, and some of it is primer, and some of the paint that I do use have been using for the house, so that'll probably be used in there as well. I still have some in the other room under the house as well. Just trying to get things up. So you're now sitting over where the chainsaws were on the bench, and the garden tools are just behind you. So this side, actually you can see part of the lathe. Excuse the drill in the way. A few clamps that I've got. So I haven't got any ply on this side, but I do intend to, because I'd like to sort of be able to set up a tool wall here for hanging the tools that I use the most often. You can see this basket here. This is currently the tools I use the most often, and they just get dumped in and out, in and out. So that used to sit right in the middle of the laundry because I was always going there. Got my Pops welder, perfect little spot for it just here. A leaf blower. Under the lathe bench, there is one shelf that my Pop had made on this part, and it's perfect for storing little bits of metal and steel. And so I've actually got some of his supplies of things that he used to turn on the lathe. Underneath, more paint, bit of old welding wire which I use for stringing some stuff up. A couple of the little buckets I've got of stuff when I'm scrapping metals, so I'd like to get them out of here and I'd maybe chuck them into the old shed over the other side, because that's just for stuff that come and go, materials. This side I've actually got access to the bench better. Again, I think I might like to put a little shelf on here. Got some old wheels in here, that sort of stuff. I'm thinking I'm trying to make a trolley for the big drop saw, because that's heavy to carry. So if I can make a little trolley that I can wheel that out and set it up, that'd be great. A couple more. There's two metal vices you can kind of see here. They're off that metal bench from when I bought it. Because actually, they came from old school, but I bought it from old school, and it came with two vices. And my little workhorse things in the corner. can see the grinder. This is Pop's metalwork vise, leg vise. So this is a pretty good multi-function bench. Fairly sturdy. Little rack for my goggles, because they used to just sit in a bucket, and probably why they're so scratched up. So I made that again. Little piece of Rio, bit of old hose. Just chuck it up into there, and beautiful. Like these saws are being held up on an old welding clamp, like that came off an old welder from work that got died. When I get this sorted out better, I'll do a proper new shop tour. I would like to show it all. Like, my head's just sort of spinning at the moment because I've still got stuff to get out here, and I'm still trying to think of where I'm going to put it all. Shed was here. I've replaced the roof with reclaimed tin. All of the framing is reclaimed timber. The ply, like these two old bits of ply, I had intended to put some shelves. I probably still will put some little shelves over there to get stuff up off the benches. Got a habit of putting stuff onto flat surfaces. I mean, look at all the screws and stuff. So I'd like to make some actual good shelves, and that's why I built that little shelf for all the mower and the fuels and stuff, because that's used to sit on this bench, and it's a waste of bench space. So that was just made out of some of the kitchen stuff that we picked up from other people. I just grabbed a couple of pieces. I didn't have to cut them, that was the size they were, and I just screwed them together. Put a few little braces on the side so I was going to be strong enough to hold stuff up. Obviously, where I'm standing now, where I'm resting now, the drill will just roll into this spot, or the drill and the sander. I've got those permanently attached, or they're attached, so they're not going to come off. So I can move that around and just need to get that sander working. The saw is just going to lean in this corner, but I still have to wheel the motorbike back in here, and my push bike, one of my dollies. That sort of lives in here as well. And I've still got more tools to come in here. Didn't realise how many tools I'd actually collected over my years. So I do have a fairly good selection of tools now. Getting this all set up much better. That's how I've spent this weekend, so that I can get into the laundry. And like I said, I've done that little bit of figuring out for the powder room, just to work out spacing. School holidays start in a week. I'll probably spend most of that time in the laundry getting that ready, because we did want to get the plumber in this break, but obviously lots to do. Having the time to get into that's probably what I'll do. And I think having access to my tools here without having to climb over them in that area is going to be a lot better. And I'll get this organised somehow. I did notice while I was cleaning up, I did see those bracket things for hanging for supporting shelves with those metal shelving brackets. So I picked those up from somewhere, but I don't think I've got any of the shelving brackets. But I might be able to use those maybe along that area, because obviously I think that bit of ply and that bit of particle board over there are nice and sturdy for being able to hang like shelves for all of my nails and screws, to try and make that work surface over there a work surface again, rather than like after coming in here and clearing everything out, and I have chucked a bit of stuff in the bins as well. There's still limited space in here. The chainsaws over there are still sitting on a bench, and then that blue crate is my power saw that I use with my tracks, and I've got a little electric planer on top of that in that box. You know those stupid plastic containers that power tools come in? I'll say stupid, except for the one for the chainsaw. That one's brilliant. But all the other ones, like I had a random orbital sander and an orbital sander and drill, and I think the biscuit joiner is still in one of those because I don't have anything else to put that into. But all those other things I chucked those out because I had some random soft tool bags that I've collected over the years, and they were better for putting things in because they all fit in that cupboard. That's pretty good considering the weight that's in that. The drill and the sander on top, the nail guns and the grinder and hammers, my jigsaw, spanners and sockets. That moved really well. Yeah, so even though I say it's a this is close to becoming a workshop. It's a semi-workshop now. Before it was just a shed. So I'm going to say that I now do have finally a workshop. It's just that it's used to store stuff as well. Once the mulcher is in, I'll probably store the lights in here now as well. There's not a lot of room in here at all for working, but it's better than it was. The Year 12 got the rest of these little concrete pads poured yesterday. Just coming out to check on them. Still just a little soft, but they should be right by tomorrow when my tradies are going to be doing the fence around this area. Yeah, we just finished Tradie Day and I got my Year 12s to help me finally create a way to stop people from parking in front of the shed. So they done bolted the posts in. There were some gate fence posts that I had left over, and just got a little buckle on it to get rid of it if I need to get a truck in there. Tradies today also got the fence put in around our veggie patch area. Had a couple of changes of plan. We ended up putting in that extra post just here, and we used one of the ones that were around the back of the trade school that could be concreted directly into the ground, and just cut a panel in two. So that's there. We've got a little bit of leftover panel over there. This space here was just a little too wide for one panel, so we're actually going to make double gates out of some of the panels here, so we can do a little bit of welding and that sort of stuff. And when we got to here, the pad that was in the corner and those ones there, as soon as the kids tightened up the Dynabolts, it started cracking the pad. It obviously hadn't had long enough to cure. Same thing happened with that one, a corner cracked off, so we ended up just taking those two out. And again, used some of the posts that were able to be concreted straight in. Ran the panel, attached it to the post and concreted directly in. Attached this panel to the post. Went across to here, attached it to the post, dug the hole, concreted that directly in, and then just cut a short panel to go straight up onto the edge of the school fence. So that's made this nice and strong. And it's become a nice long large area that we can actually have fenced off for our food and ag course. So I've scrounged around both my yard and in my school compound area and the shed out the back, and all these pieces of timber here are all treated pine 2x6s, close enough, so 140 by 35s. And I'm planning on cleaning these up a little bit, getting all the paint off, and maybe stripping down the sides so they're neater edges, and especially because this one's crooked, and cutting them to the length to replace the rusted out base of my trailer. And at first I thought I was going to have to split these things in half this way, which means I'd be somewhere between 1/2 and 5/8 of an inch thick. And I was a bit worried about that because of the knots and things. But I'll be able to get 2 out of this one, probably 2 out of this piece, and 1 out of everything else, which means I've got 10. I only need 8.5 of them. So I think I'm just going to dock them all to length, then clean them up through the thicknesser and the saw. And I can replace that bottom of my trailer, which is basically rusted out all around the edges. Here is the state of the trailer. Basically the rust starts here. It's pretty much rusted out all the way around the edges. Come around here and then stops here. This little section here over the left wheel isn't rusted through yet, but it won't be long. You can see all this sort of stuff that's basically been shaken free as I've driven the trailer to and from work. So as well as cutting around the edges, there's just a few of these short little welds that I'll have to cut through to remove the base. I'll clean it all up, probably do a bit of welding here just to reinforce that. There's 3 cross members under the trailer. I'll probably need to maybe weld a piece of angle iron at the end. Down the back, I'll have to weld a piece of angle iron to the back piece so that the timber's got somewhere to rest on, because it can't fit underneath the back gate. Term. I've just finished cutting up that stuff for the trailer, do some fine finessing at the house. This room hasn't basically been in since Year 12 finished up their projects, and Year 11 even came in here and did the final touches of theirs, but nobody's been in here and the place is just still, it's been so hectic at work. So either I come in one day in the break and try and knock off a fair bit of this tidy up, maybe, or as much time as possible next term, that's when I just come in here and try and get this sorted so that it's ready for next year.